Shocking story from Tamil Nadu and proof that the deadly Coimbatore cylinder blast was a manifestation of a jihadi mindset. It was part of a plot to wage a gruesome war against those who are branded as Kafirs. Times Now has managed to access what the NIA has recovered from the main accused of the Coimbatore blast, Mubin. The scribbles he left behind in the way of detailed diagrams and flowcharts show how he was plotting jihad against Kafirs. His diabolical mindset can be seen in the way he calls terror a duty for the strong and the able-bodied. Let's first get you details of what these three crucial pieces of evidence reveal. And for that, it's over to my colleague, Meghna.
Well, yes, Padmaja, we are going to show you three such diagrams, flowchart if you may, which will show the diabolical mindset. Now, many have asked, what does it show? Does it really show the terror plot? No, but it shows what the mindset, the jihadi mindset of the man who is supposed to be the main accused in the Coimbatore blast case, which goes to show what is the way that they are plotting this entire terror plot and what was the thought process and the thinking behind it. The first one that we are going to show for you is going to be a picture that we don't have. So if we just press the continues on that, we can show you all of them, all the diagrams one after the other and get you the details of that. One of them will be showing you a diagram where it says very categorically the children, elderly and the youth. Now, on the other hand, you'll see that when it comes to children and the elderly, it very categorically says that they are too weak to carry out jihad. It is not their duty to carry out the jihad. When it shows the youth, it says that the youth are strong and hence it implies that they should be the ones carrying out the jihad. Not just that, it also distinguishes one human from the other completely based on their religion. And one of the diagrams that allegedly was received by the NIA while they were carrying out raids on Mubin's home was a diagram where it says that humans are to be divided into two parts. One is that of Muslims, the others are all Kafirs. So the implication of this is anyone who's not a Muslim automatically then becomes a Kafir. Now this is the thought process because it's important for us to understand the larger radicalism also which is happening when it comes to this, because we have seen a pattern which has emerged where the ISIS, the larger Islamist state, have been specifically targeting the youth.
Right. We'll come back to that in just a second and show exactly our viewers what those diagrams are one by one. But after exposing the shocking jihad script, we now reveal the very last conversation that took place between the accused of the Coimbatore blast. For the first time, listen to the two suspects, Riaz and Feroz, on the day just before the blast. Remember, we showed you how the three suspects were seen hours before the blast. This was the footage that we'd shown you first on Times Now, how they were carrying a sack purportedly full of explosives into Mubin's car. Now, listen for yourself how just the day before this video surfaced, they discussed shifting something. Listen in to the Mubin tips.
Hello.
Assalamualaikum. Waalaikumsalam. வா.
ஏன்
சீக்கிரம் வா.
இல்லடா இல்லை லேட் ஆகும் கொஞ்சம்.
லேட் ஆகும். எத்தனை மணி ஆகும்?
ஒரு 1/4 மணி நேரம் மேலே ஆகும்.
சீக்கிரம் வா.
ஏன்
வா.
என்ன விஷயம் சொல்றான்?
அவனுக்கு வீடு காலி பண்ண கூப்பிட்டுருக்கான், அதுக்கு தான்.
அதுதான் போயிட்டு வா நீ.
அதுல இப்ப போலவா?
இல்லடான்னு.
இல்லையா?
ஆமா, வீட்டுல ஆள் இருக்காங்கடா. நான் ஒண்ணும் இல்லை. நானு
சார் வந்துட்டு போ, ஒரு நிமிஷம் வா.
வந்துட்டு போவா? நான் இப்ப வரலடா. அப்படி. ஆமா.
Now hear the conversation between the accused Riaz with the mother of the other accused Feroz. She can be heard asking about his whereabouts and of a bike.
எங்க
ஜாமான் கொடுத்துட்டு இருக்கு. வந்தல
எங்க போய்?
முபீன் வீட்லமா? முபீன் வீட்ல.
முபீன் வீட்ல?
ஆமா, நீ ஜிஎம் பேக்ஸ் வந்திருந்தானா? அவன் ஜாமான் கொஞ்சம் கடத்துட்டு போயிட்டு இருந்தான். ஆள் இல்லைங்க. நானும் ஃபிரோஸ் நவாஸ்மா.
சீக்கிரம் வா.
வந்துடுறேன். முடிய போகுது.
It's interesting also that in this particular audio, this man talks about how he is going to vacate his house. One must ask whether this is the prior planning to quickly make oneself scarce after the blast happened. Now we get you audio tape number 3. Listen to Riaz again talking to Firoz's mother about completing the work of shifting. He confirms that he was with her son Nawaz and Firoz.
Hello?
Hello? Yes, again?
வீடு கழுவி விட போறேன். வீடு கழுவி விட போறேன்னு.
Yes, again?
வீடு காலி பண்ண போறேன்னு.
வண்டி எங்க?
மச்சாட்ட கொடுத்துட்டேன்.
இல்ல இங்க நீங்க மேல ஏறிட்டு எங்க ஆட்டோ பிடிச்சி வர சொல்றதுக்கு எங்க போன் அடிச்சேன்.
அப்படியா? மச்சாட்ட கொடுத்துட்டேன் வண்டிய. ஆட்டோவும் மேலே இல்ல.
ஒண்ணுமே இல்லையா?
மேலே இல்ல.
நீ எங்க போயிட்டியா?
ஆமா.
எங்க போயிட்டு? ஹலோ?
ஹலோ?
எங்க நானே?
தெரியுமா? மச்சாட்ட வண்டி கொடுத்துட்டேன் நானு. ஃபிரோஸ்ல வெளிய வந்துட்டேன்.
நீ எங்க போனேன்னு கேக்குற?
கிட்டமா ஏமா?
The chief of the BJP in Tamil Nadu, K Annamalai, is joining us live on the show. Mr. Annamalai, what do you make first hand of these materials that have been recovered from the house of Mubin? The fact that he says that there are two types of people, Muslims and Kafirs.
It's very unfortunate, madam, that it has come to this level in the state of Tamil Nadu. October 23rd morning, when the whole issue happened. That point of time itself, everything looked very suspicious, though the state government was trying to make it up as a cylinder blast. But things were not adding up even then. You could see, I visited the spot 2 days back in Coimbatore. And even then I could see some ball bearings still filled around. And I could see big nails still there. In fact, I took some of the ball bearings and nails. I've showed it to the press people also, that somebody was carrying this much along with explosives. The state is not taking it seriously and still calling that as a cylinder blast. Now, when you look at the tapes that you played now and the charts that you have just put out for your viewers, one thing very clearly is this plan looks much more deeper and much more evolved. It is not some youth who randomly decided on fine day he did something. It looks more radicalized, is brainwashed. Maybe this plan was months in operation, and the level of hatred. Either you are with me or you are not with me. Either you are a Kafir or you are a Muslim. That is the level of hatred to which they were brainwashed. And basically the phone conversation that you played, I think the mother grew suspicious. She was trying to find what it is. And this guy trying to hide it. And very clearly, it is not the one guy who did it. The police picked up 5 guys on day 1. Then they picked up 8 guys on day 2, the next day. It looks much more organized, much more deeper. That is the initial impression I'm getting on seeing your show now, ma'am.
This kind of literature is not something that could be assimilated in one day. The fact that this man has sat there, has scrawled jihad, has said that the elderly are weak and the young able-bodied must go out and wage jihad. How did the intelligence agencies miss this level of radicalization where he was actively thinking and perhaps propagating this kind of thought?
In fact, on June 19, one of the sister agencies, they have issued an alert, a very specific alert in the name of the same attacker. They gave an alert for 95 people who they connected to ISIS. The information was passed on June 19, where Mubin's name was serial number 89. But somehow, a good 2 months later, when the attack happened on October 23rd, nobody cared to check what is happening. And this guy was in radar even in 2019. NIA picked up one of the modules from Coimbatore. It's very shocking. It's a systemic failure. And madam, one thing I also like to bring out is the level of conversation you see is Tamil. Generally, the Muslim community in Tamil Nadu, it is not Urdu speaking. It is mostly Tamil speaking. And they don't pick up any foreign language. If you look at the Telegram or other channels, many communication directly comes from ISIS preachers. They see it. But here, many things are translated to the language in Tamil. There is a local preacher who speaks in the language they understand. And this guy gets radicalized in Tamil. And the whole planning happens in Tamil. That is very different. When you see from outside, there is a handler who is sitting in outside. But it is all happened, looks like it all happened within the state only. So that is why it is more sinister and the intelligence agencies not picking up this, despite a very clear specific alert on June 19 and the specific alert 5 days before the blast, which is October 18th. Very shocking, very unfortunate, very clear-cut systemic failure now.
You know, in my recent memory, I do not remember this kind of language or this level of indoctrination at least being discovered in Tamil Nadu. This is something that was recurrent in states of Uttar Pradesh. We've had cases in Bihar. You've yourself been an IPS officer in Karnataka. Do you find this a recent phenomenon? The fact that openly calls of jihad are being given, talks of Kafirs versus Muslim is happening, and this, by the way, of a young educated man. This man was an engineer. He is not some uneducated person.
The shocking part again is the guy who plotted this. I saw his shop also, which was about 4 shops away from the main temple, exactly where the car blew up. He was running a bookshop, which was just 150 meters away from where he blew up finally. And everybody knew him locally, and nobody could, at least the people who kind of saw him outside. So that kind of hiding, he was able to do it. He planned it well within himself, within a group. And it is very shocking, the literature. Normally people do it out of emotion, people do it out of a religious indoctrination, but here it runs much more deeper. Where he talks about Kafir, he goes one step further. And signals were always there now. 3 months back, the central agencies picked up one lone wolf drive in Erode. Erode is a place which never had a history of this kind of incident. He actually brought a truck, and he wanted to do this truck like a Paris-style attack in the Ganapati procession. And luckily, the agencies picked up after he purchased a truck locally. So the signals were always coming out in Tamil Nadu in the last few months. 2019, when the Sri Lankan Easter attack happened also, the fingers were pointed straight at Tamil Nadu, straight at Coimbatore, where NIA picked up about 6 guys who Mubin was also in touch then in 2019. So it's very alarming, especially in the last few years, the kind of radicalization that has spread more deeper and very heavily indoctrinated now. But signals were always coming. It is not that suddenly this came up.
Where has it come from? Because when we were talking about the ISIS brides or fighters going to Syria, usually it was related to Kerala, and a lot of people going from Kerala and, you know, Middle East money coming back, etc. That was the reason given for why indoctrination is happening of youth in Kerala. Why is this happening in Tamil Nadu?
At least for Coimbatore, in 2019, during the Easter bombing attack, the module was pretty active in Palakkad in Kerala, Coimbatore in Tamil Nadu, which is separated only by 60 kilometers, 2 close cities within 2 state borders. Maybe that was the reason given then, but which was not spread in different parts of Tamil Nadu. But when 3 months back, picked up one operative who's 120 kilometers away from Coimbatore in a place in Salem, in a place in Erode, where everybody says they got indoctrinated by a handler through an internet, through encrypted channels and Telegram kind of application. It only shows how technology itself is playing a huge role, how the intelligence agencies have to evolve themselves, keep themselves updated. No more the old style will book. In fact, the recent Tamil Nadu police is giving now that June 19, there was a specific alert on Mubin. But when I guys checked his house, the police have recorded in the local book that his house got changed, they couldn't locate it. Very fact, Mubin was staying just 4 buildings away from the temple, everybody knew. Somehow I think police is also becoming more lethargic day by day, not being taking things very seriously, trying to brush things under the carpet, trying not to bring a bad name to the state. In fact, the police in Tamil Nadu is still using the term called cylinder blast. Somehow they believe using a word terror will bring Tamil Nadu's image down, will bring government's image down. That is very unfortunate. When you don't accept it, how will you fix the system? How will you fix the liability? But in this case, even now, Tamil Nadu government is in a denial mode. That is very unfortunate.
In fact, you know, when you're talking about bringing a bad name, you have been accused of trying to bring a bad name to Tamil Nadu by politicizing a matter. In fact, recently you were also, there were angry protests when you went to the actual site of the explosion, to the temple. What do you make of that? The DMK and the police, the Tamil Nadu police has asked you, when an intelligence input came, it was a generic input which said that there could be some unrest and it was a generic pre-Diwali input. You are politicizing it, and which is why people are getting angry that you are disparaging Tamil Nadu.
In fact, after the government said that the DGP issued a press statement, I was forced to give out very specific input, though we didn't actually want to do it, to demoralize the force. I gave a very specific input in form of, again, a letter to the DGP, June 19, how specific it was, October 18th, how specific it was. Even now, the police doesn't comment, they refuse to open their mouth. Our problem was always the way intelligence was processed, the way the politics of the state was trying to dominate the actual policing at the ground level. That is where we had a problem. In fact, the whole idea of visiting the spot 8 days later was to bring an awareness, because now if the next module is active, the local police is not picking up. Maybe 1 month later, 2 months later, some other bomb blast happens. Then people have to become alert. People have to become slightly conscious this is happening in their soil. That was the main intention. And some of the police believes you got to hide everything under the carpet. People become panic. People are very intelligent. People are very rational. Unless you tell people this is happening, people themselves will become informers. But unfortunately, the state government's role here is to brush everything under the carpet. Even the DGP of the state was forced to use the word called cylinder blast. Till today, he is using the word called cylinder blast. They are not using the word called terror. I just hope and pray at least the system gets activated now. They understand this is a very, very serious issue we are sitting. We are looking at very highly radicalized individuals who are very angry. And if the system is not up to the mark.
Why are they angry? It's interesting you say that they are very angry, because some reports suggest that some of the literature which was found at Mubin's house also had list of attacks that have taken place on Muslims, lynchings, cow protection, vigilantes, mosques being attacked. The fact that he's written on a slate that we will destroy those who touch the house of Allah. Is that why the youth are angry and radicalized?
Yes, ma'am, because it's a selective, distorted information. The best way to radicalize somebody is you take an information, spin it out of context, give some new narrative to it, and keep repeating it again and again so that somebody tends to believe. That is what happening in this case also. When he says the house of Allah, whoever touches it, brought down, it simply means somebody has fed them the wrong narrative. Somebody has told them that some section of the Hindu community is against the Muslim brother. They are targeting them, they're killing them, they're lynching them. So this false lie was fed to a select group, and the Quran was selectively quoted, Hadith was selectively quoted. They are made to believe. Else you will not see this, because if you look at the last WhatsApp status message, madam, it was very clear he's going to die. In fact, he invited everybody to his funeral. So he changed his WhatsApp status message, then he drove the car. So which clearly shows us that he's more than a plotter, he's a suicide bomber. So suicide bomber territory is very new to Tamil Nadu, very new to India, very new to Coimbatore. So that is the level of deep radicalization, because fake stories get spun around.
By who?
It gets repeated again and again. Some of the politicians, they mouth it again and again for vote politics. So finally what happens, the youth gets radicalized because they neither care to check the veracity of it, nor do they care to go deep of that issue, because they operate in small groups.
By
it's
who?
Like an echo chamber.
But who? Who do you think is circulating what you call a false narrative?
Coming to that, now unfortunately the way politics of the country is happening, it has become like an echo chamber. Moment false things get spun out, it operates within the same echo chamber. Everybody keeps topping the same falsehood. Over a point of time, people tend to believe. That is why we are operating in a very, very dangerous territory with the social media, uncontrolled way information is spreading. If you are looking at Times Now, of course, you have a very reputed Padmaja madam sitting here. You have an editor sitting there. Every information is cross-checked. In a social media or a video, when you put it, who's cross-checking it? It circulates around and around and around. And people believe. There is no monitoring mechanism also. Even you look at the way the explosive is purchased now. He has purchased more than 75 kg of explosive in different friends' name. Some he has purchased offline, purchased small quantities over a point of time. When they assembled it, it has crossed 75 kg. So that level of hatred, that level of planning, more like an echo chamber. I think it's time as a country we relook at many of the things. For vote gain in Tamil Nadu, unfortunately, many of the mainstream political parties, their views borders on extremism. We have political leaders here who run political parties on a banned organization's name. LTT, they run political party. There are some political party which are free to speak anything that borders on extremism. And nobody cares about it. Nobody gives anything to it. So what happens when politics also borders around this fake narrative, borders around this vote bank politics, finally the society pays a price. I think that is a classic fallout of this Coimbatore episode.
And the proof is now staring us in the face. This goes much, much beyond politics. It is about the integrity of our very country. The fact that here is a young, brainwashed, educated man actually sitting in his house and saying that all the young, able-bodied men need to get out and wage jihad. This should concern every Indian. Thanks very much, Mr. Annamalai, for speaking to us. Quick break.